It's Rifts time again, ladies and gentlemen. Back into getting my Rifts game going here a bit. Setting up for, in the future here, hopefully a little bit of solo play. And I've started off by making a couple characters, but I need to rewind a little bit maybe. And according to a recent poll on my, on my channel, the majority of respondents have never played Rifts. Now, I won't take too much time to explain what Rifts is and what it's about. People have done better videos on that topic than I can probably do anyways, but I did want to take a moment to make a video on just an overview of what my relationship with GURPS has been, what I like, what I don't like. In case anybody cares, I'm sure nobody does, but it will be I'm just gonna go through some of the points, and if you're new to Rifts, you'll pick up a lot of generalities about the system through this. So let's get right into it. Things that I like about Rifts is first off, anything goes. People call it the kitchen sink setting. It really is flexible to fit in, believably anyways, any kind of character concept pretty well. You can make it work. Elves and dwarves can be rifted in from other dimensions. Anything from any dimension you can dream up can make an appearance in the Rifts Earth, thanks to the Rifts, magical dimensional gates, which are random, by the way. They open up here and there, and you can explain away an awful lot of things that way. The setting and the backstory are there's a ton of it. There's a lot of backstory, and there's scores of source books exploring the Rifts Earth, different regions of the world: England, Japan, Russia, Africa, South America, and then there's a timeline too that it progresses. You can get deep into that. I have not. I've always tried to avoid getting too deep into the Rifts lore. I just like to keep it simple, mostly just with the basic book here, and roll that way. But as I've stated before, I've never played any serious games of Rifts. We made a lot of characters back in my high school days in the 90s. A lot of characters, played a few sessions, maybe 5 sessions. It was actually, truthfully, probably beyond us. It was too hard for us to run a decent game, because it is, as a lot of people say, it is not easy to run a good game in Rifts because of the modern, everybody says modern mechanics, modern games. Things are balanced well. I think that's a bit of a crutch, maybe. It makes things easier for the game master, undoubtedly. But if you can run a Rifts game with a street rat or a city rat and a glitter boy, and like a cyber doc in the same campaign, in the same group, you got some skills. If you can keep everybody interested in the game moving, it's a good game. If you can, you're a good game master if you can run that kind of game. Other things I like about Rifts: a unique occupation, OCCs, occupational character classes. This is the best post-apocalyptic setting that I know of. I'm not well versed in post-apocalyptic settings by any means, but this one is good. There is some cool stuff written into the whole burbs and the Chi Town thing. Makes for some interesting kind of cyberpunk themes, and then the rest of the world, like the area around Chi Town or Chi Town, or however you say it, is just wastelands, and it's got something for everybody. Anyways, the unique OCCs they've fit into the setting, like bursters, juicers, crazy cyber knights. Burster is a psychic, a pyrokinetic specialist psychic. They can do a lot of damage with flame. a juicer is an augmented human who are basically fitted with a drug dispensing harness. And this is monitoring their vitals at all time and just shooting them up with painkillers and super enhancing, strength enhancing. They look like this. Here's the drug harness on this guy. You can see a needle collars on all the arteries, biceps, wrists, around the neck. It's intense. Anyways, they achieve super soldier abilities, super soldier speed, toughness, endurance, strength, all through crazy amounts of drugs, and then sedatives to calm them down and bring their adrenalines down when not in action, stuff like that. The other is the crazy, so that's a modified a brain augmentation, which tweaks a few things in your brain to get the same, generally not quite as extreme, but the same effects as the juicer has. So superhuman reflexes, strength, speed, endurance. Another cool OCC is the Cyber Knight. I've always liked them. They're sort of like a Jedi ripoff. They roam around generally righting wrongs and just being a paladin, basically. And they have the psychic ability to materialize a psychic sword. It's a sword of pure energy. So it's like a lightsaber, but they don't even need the hilt of a lightsaber. The whole blade and everything just comes into being from sheer psychic force of will. And so they roam around being good guys. That's the idea anyways. Another thing I love about Palladium Rifts, not Savage Worlds Rifts. I've not gotten into that much, just read a lot of reviews and seen some actual plays, but I don't own any of that. Never played it. But in this, the artwork has always been, it's just classic. Like, look at that. That's awesome. Awesome art. That's pretty cool. That's a little weird. Like, yeah, the artwork, the machinery they've always drawn. So I came to this game as a bit of a 13-year-old, and of course, you know, this stuff really appeals to a 13-year-old. 13-year-old male. Pretty cool looking vehicles, and the Sky King. I love that picture of the Sky King. Hover cycle, whatever thing that is. Artwork's always been great. The energy weapons. I used to love just, look at the power armor, robots, the Dead Boy armor. Yeah, I used to just pick out my weapons based on the coolest looking one at that age. Whatever, that's a valid way to go about it. Not knocking that if anybody wants to do that. The power armor, as I mentioned, in this game is really cool. It's just, there's like 100 or two, included with the expansion books. In this base book, there's not that much robots or power armor choices, but that's cool. Just Kevin Simbita and his artist's ability to dream up this stuff is just amazing to me. Now, I'll get into mechanics of the system a little bit here in a little bit. I'm not sure Kevin was much of a real stickler for mechanics. From the interviews I've seen of him and stuff, he seems to be an amazing storyteller and world creator for sure. And he's a great artist. You can't have it all. You can't have the perfect mechanical rules as well as all those other things. And the guy's a marketing whiz too. He did all this basically on his own, marketing all this and bringing this company up from nothing. So, I can't fault him for when I find some shortcomings in the rules. They're decent rules, nothing wrong with them. I don't agree with people who say that they're unworkable or unplayable. I think that's our shortcoming, because the way he runs the game, just little excerpts I've seen, he runs it fast and loose, and he makes rulings on the fly, and that's what a game master needs to. That's improv. That's what we need to be able to do, regardless of the system. Good game master can make any system fly for sure. The coalition presence and the background and their bad good guys kind of stance is really intriguing. Gives you a lot to work with. They're kind of evil at the core, but they're doing a lot of good by, you know, preserving humanity at least. There's a lot of neat things you can play around with that, plot devices, conflicts. The cyberpunk option, as I mentioned, is really nice to have built into the setting. So in the walled cities, you've got a controlling power. It's a total dystopia there. You've got the coalition states are dictators basically controlling these cities, and with violent crackdowns on psychics and magic users and dimensional beings or mutants. They're just ruthless. And you know, if you want to play like a Shadowrunner in these cities, there's so much meat there you could play with. Like, you know, you're always running from guys in armor like this, and these things, Samus patrol. Like, you're always outgunned, outnumbered. You're always the underdog. So if you're hiding in the shadows, hacking your way into places, yeah, it's there's a lot of juiciness there. I've never done it. I've never run a cyberpunk game in this setting, but I would really like to. I really would. Mutants, magic, psionics, super technology, and low technology all seems to coexist in this setting. And quite well, I think, too. Now, rules is written. It is hard, as I said, for a game master to make those interesting, playable. Sometimes it's harder. But my next video will be presenting my house rules that I have made and tested a bit that will mitigate these problems. Hopefully they do for me, for my tastes. Maybe they will for you too. I'll share them as usual. The combat, when I picked up this game at the age of 13, we were playing D&D. That was the only other alternative. And then we started into Palladium games, and the combat really came to life for us with the parry, dodge options, simultaneous strike options, the hand-to-hand martial arts, the different types of hand styles. We really sunk our teeth into that and liked that. We were sick of, D&D paled in comparison. You roll a d20 against an armor class, did I hit the guy? Was I hitting his armor? We had to do a little bit of creative gymnastics to try and make sense of that towards realism a little more. And this seemed to just be more exciting for us. And to this day, I agree. I think the dodge and parry mechanics are great. Nothing wrong with the combat system in this. With a few tweaks, of course, it becomes quite great for my money. The skill system. This game has a skill system, percentile system. It's got a large inventory of skills, and being a huge GURPS fan, I like a skill-based system. Yeah, there's like over 100 skills here that you can choose from. I like that. That's a hallmark of a good system for my interests. Character diversity. Now here's this is what makes it hard for most people to run this game, me included for sure. I'll just pull up the list here. Like, you've got anything from a glitter boy, which is a walking fortress, right up to a vagabond, or a city rat. And these people are supposed to somehow coexist in a group. It's hard to imagine and plan for, but the diversity is there. Like, you could right off the bat, obviously, you could make a team of city rats and vagabonds, and that would solve the problem if everybody's a similar power level. But I like this game because it doesn't have, the training wheels are off, is what it feels like. Savage Worlds, from what I see, they do a good job of locking you into a box where everybody's going to be similarly powerful. As from my little experience, just watching from the sidelines. If I was to run this in GURPS, it probably, I started converting it, and I was going to run it that way too, try and keep the points balanced. But there's something about just the, no holds barred in Palladium Rifts, and I like that. That's appealing to me. Again, hard to pull off. Character diversity, cool. And overall, it's my favorite post-apocalypse setting. It's got so much meat to it. Even though I try to not go crazy buying all the source books, and so far have not, after 20 years, 30 years of owning this. Just getting back into it now though, so we'll see. Things I don't like about Palladium Rifts. First off, I've never been a huge minis tactical gaming fan, but in the last 4 years or so, I have been getting into it a little bit more. I can see the appeal there. Sometimes it is fun to bust out the minis, and I really jonesing for it more these days because of the obviously pandemic. It's harder to get together in person to play at all. So getting together and playing with minis seems like the ultimate unreachable goal these days. Something I don't like, or I wish there was. I think that the game is missing something of a social mechanic. It's just, left up to the game master to house rule or run with it, or on a whim improvise. Nothing wrong with that, but again, I have being a GURPS fan, it's got a great social system, and then the supplements like social engineering, you can get pretty deep into that, into social role playing and dice rolling. So this list of things that I don't like about Rifts, I have created, compiled my list of house rules that will mitigate all of these. And like I say, it's makes the game play the way I enjoy. So it's not going to be for everybody, but I'm offering a solution to these issues. So I have a simple social mechanic based on attributes. I'm not going to get into the details. That'll be the next video. I'll just summarize things here. Another thing that I don't like is SDC characters are, of course, they're going to be weak in combat. I don't have a problem with that so much as I have a hard time having fun as one. They're not as fun. So unless you're an MDC structure, so a glitter boy or some other power armor, or a full conversion cyborg or a dragon, you will be mopped up quite quickly. You potentially will not last in a combat. You cannot get in there and mix it up. You gotta just duck and hide and keep your head down. Now that's okay. Again, a good game master can keep you busy doing other fun things using your skills. But it's so bad to the extent that you have to just basically hide all the time or slap on mega damage armor. And that's the obvious solution. Everybody wears armor in this. And I don't care for that. My problem is a character like the Burster. This is a Human Torch, basically, kind of guy. But he's an SDC character. He's just a normal dude. So he takes one hit from a energy pistol, and he's vaporized. That's not cool. I don't want him to have the body armor on, running around like a Human Torch in armor. That just ruins my... For me, this is the cinematic, bigger than life kind of game. And I picture this dude. He's wearing, he's wearing jams. He's got like Hawaiian t-shirt on or a muscle shirt, and he's wearing like shorts and smoking a cigarette, and his hair's on fire, and he's in a flame, and he's just walking around blasting people with his, fireball bolts. It ruins the fun for me when I have to outfit this guy in armor just to get through a combat. He can deal mega damage with his psionic flame bursts, but he can't take anything. So again, that's one example of SDC characters being a little too weak. Why I don't like that, and I have a mitigation. I have a house rule for that to make that more fun. again, for my tastes. Another thing I don't care for Palladium Rifts is guns. Okay, so the guns hit too easily. The the combat mechanic rule, as written, when you shoot somebody with your gun, you roll a d20. You have a plus to strike if you shoot a burst, or if you aim, you get a +3. And if somebody tries to dodge that, they're at a -10 to dodge, and they do not get the benefit of their bonuses to dodge from incoming gunfire. Now they say that they justify that by being, bullets are coming in, energy weapons are coming in too fast, you can't see them to dodge. Fair enough, that makes sense, but it's not quite that easy to hit somebody in reality, in my experiences from shooting stuff at ranges beyond 20 feet. If anybody's ducking and weaving or on the move or half cover or all of the above, it's hard to plunk a shot on target. So to me, it shouldn't be quite that. So rules is written, just about every shot hits, and with these mega damage weapons, you're obliterating stuff. And so I have a mitigation for that. I allow people to dodge. I don't inflict the -10. That's the short and the long of the my house rule for that. So that really, for some people, that would change the game too much for them, and understandable. But that really brings the game back into the sweet spot for me. I expect there to be a lot of firefights, people dumping magazines into, out across the firing range and getting a whole lot of nothing. And firefights going on for a while, people running out of armor, or running out of ammo. That's the kind of game I like. Firefights sustained, not just killing each other first couple seconds at range. I do like to throw in modifiers by the book. If you're on the move, you get a -3 to hit. That's just a rule I noticed just this week, actually, is actually written in this. I found it in this strange little paragraph under revolvers. So we kind of always played this way. You'd throw out, you'd house rule on the fly negatives if the guy's 100 feet away and he's at a full sprint going zigzagging between cars or something, -4 to hit. But right here it says under revolvers, of all things, this is just actually all modern weapons come equipped with blah blah blah. It's a blanket statement, but it's under the revolver section. It says where is it? Moving targets. It is a lot harder to hit someone while they are moving. -3 to strike at moving, running, or leaping targets. Well, where was that? That's one area where Palladium Rifts gets criticized. The rules like that should be, in the basics, in the basic rules section. But as teenagers, we house ruled that on the fly. It just made sense. So figure it out, people. If it's missing, if the system's missing something, make it up on the fly. Tailor it to your fun. Why not? Power armor and robots are too fast and just too good against humans. So in this, you get hand-to-hand attacks. You get a number of attacks per melee based on your hand-to-hand skill, so martial arts or hand-to-hand expert ability. And then if you take piloting power armor, like elite power armor skill, or just basic power armor skill, you get additional attacks. And by the rules, as I understand them anyways, you add those together. Now to me, so that makes some ninja dude not as fast as the guy in the power armor. Now that doesn't seem realistic to me. Yes, you are superhuman because you're in the power armor, but you've got the strength, not the speed. To me, that juicer should be easily more faster than a guy in bulky power armor. So I have a mitigation, a house rule to mitigate that. It sets that back in line. The next item on my list of not really liking MDC body armor is too absolute. Yes, so once you slap on your MDC body armor, every hit it takes whittles away at its mega damage capacity. And until that is whittled away, that character, by the rules, is pretty impervious. Now, we used to house rule this a bit as well. You can sneak up behind the guy and snap his neck still through his armor by twisting his head off if you have the strength to do it. But I've gone a step further and made a house rule regarding this to allow called shots to get in there. It's at a heinous, it's a -10 penalty to do, but you can actually try and shoot between the overlapping, plates and stuff like that. Get into vulnerable spots at a -10. The whole idea is to bring back the possibility even of sniping. Like, as written, it was always frustrating to me that there's a couple of guns here, like the juicer assault weapon there. It's described as the assassin's energy rifle. It's a sniper rifle. This one has it'll take an SDC single hand loaded round, so it's like a bolt action, and it does some nice damage, but it is SDC. So anyways, so I also put in a house rule for targeting vitals at -10, and you deal damage straight to hit points. To make this kind of stuff, more playable. It's just something more to grab onto for my fun. Might work for others too. And the MDC, yeah. So some guy in Dead Boy armor. Get that picture up again. Looks cool. I love their armor. Let's go up here. Get the grunt. In this environmental body armor suit, as written, you can't find a way in there to bypass that. You have to shoot away until... It doesn't have hit locations either in this game, which is a bit of a drag, but, again, we used to just kind of eyeball that. Legs are worth kind of half what the torso was rated at, so this would be 80. This is a heavy Dead Boy armor. 80, I'd say 40 per leg, 40 MDC, and then maybe 20 or 30 for an arm, maybe 30 for a helmet. So you could just blaze away at somebody's helmet and do 30 MDC and then get through their armor that way. But if you're a good shot, which once you start getting up in levels, you should be starting to get better with striking and stuff, you should be able to pick people off. You should be able to one-shot kill people, shoot them right through the visor, like stuff like that. It should be very hard to do, but it should be possible. Whereas the rules as written, there's no, that I'm aware of, there's no mechanic for that. So yeah, that's Rifts. It's what I like and don't like about the system. And stay tuned for another video going over my house rules of how I mitigate the things that I don't like, making this into the perfect game. Maybe not quite, but closer. Roll on.